Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you are. Just gonna grab my headphones and think. Whoa, that's very loud. I think sound is a little bit better when I do that. To this opportunity to connect in this body, to be present. The things that we're feeling and the things that we're processing and what's moving through. We have to come back to the land of this body periodically, be connected. So important. So seasons are a changing step by step. We're still in this week is basically peak beauty autumn. And then I can see in the 10-day forecast, we're going to make that turn towards windy, chilly, get the cinnamon out. I've already been rocking the cinnamon though, not waiting. So, oh gosh, there's so much we could talk about the seasonal change. And, as these spaces grow and as Beauty Way Healing Arts grows, we will definitely have, seasonal change retreats and things that really tune us into the practices of the seasons and the rhythms. So, right now, I think we could use a really, a practice that allows us to both dwell in the heart, but also dwell in the whole body at the same time. How do we open up some of those fire elements and then cusping with metal phase, the lung channels? Let's see what we get into. So I'm going to invite us to come down onto our backs and to breathe together, to feel the body melting into the ground. Each breath, belly expanding, each exhale, body melting. Melting into the floor. This act of surrender. You could bring the feet a little wide and the knees together if that feels good. My left hip is into it, my right hip not so much. It just feels a little bit better to keep the knees in line with hips. Breathing. Bring the hands somewhere onto the trunk or the belly that feels like home, like rest. How are you breathing in this moment? What is arising for you? Take a nice stretch of the arms overhead. Arms coming out to the side, that zigzag little. So as this is seasonal change, what we can start doing as there's less and less sunlight available is actually waking up earlier. Mm-hmm. Waking up earlier, waking up, exercising, moving the body. starting to get on that vitamin D. I personally use a liquid supplement, vitamin D. And we can also think about using light boxes, a little bit heat therapies as well. I personally use a biomat, which is like infrared gem heat technology. We start shifting the food towards warm things. Soups and stews and substantial feeling food. I'm going to make a pot of chili today. That's in the mix. And come back to the center and just bring the hands onto the thighs and give a little palming here. Feel a little movement. Straight the hip flexors or the crease of the hips. Just using this gentle rocking movement. And I'm doing that before I bring knees into chest and squeeze that area of the body. Start to bring in little gentle movement. Movement of circular motion. This is my yoga pants. They're very comfortable, but the waist doesn't stay up. Circle. Circles all the direction. Big movement side to side, all the way into the elbow. Rocking and rolling. Opposite circles, figure eights. Opposite direction. Back to center. Back down onto the floor. One more time. Little space in the hip flexors. Stretch arms and legs. Big stretch through the body. Nice. Take a breath. A gentle roll onto the side. Using both hands to come up. And let's come onto our hands and knees. We've got warm up from hands and knees. Lovely movement through here. Fingers spread nice and wide. Cat pose breathing. Exhale, spine towards ceiling. Breathing in, breathing out. Feel free to add little wiggles in between. Allowing for opening movement. What kind of sounds are we getting out of the body today? Pops and cracks and misses and natses. Breathing in. Breathing out. Side to side movement. Inhale. Exhale, turn. Find a heel. Inhale. Exhale. One more time to each side. Inhale. Exhale. Make sure fingers are spread nice and wide. Center the palm, pressing into the floor. Come back to center. Have a nice child's pose. Back onto heels. Arms extend forward. Nice deep breaths into this space. Walk the right fingertips a little bit forward. And breathe into the right side. Walk the left fingertips forward. Breathe into the left side. Walking the hands back. We're back on hands and knees. If you need a moment to wiggle the wrists here, we're making circles. We need those fingers spread really wide. Let the hips sway from side to side. I've got my toes untucked here. Let the hips sway side to side. Let's try that in the opposite direction. So it's like you're tracing a circle with your belly button. And then let's take this. I'm going to bring my hands a little bit farther forward, and I'm doing a figure 8, swaying. Every time the weight comes off my hands, I'm going to try to reverse the order. Yeah, there it is. I turn into something snake-like. Sway. Side to side. Come into a nice wide leg child's pose. Stack the forearms. Have a nice breath here. Slowly coming up. Slither on down to the floor. Let's wake things up here. Little extension in the back body. The legs are together, feet are together for the most part, but you don't have to squeeze anything together. Right? Hands are by the sides of the chest. Baby cobra. Easing into the floor, lifting with upper back, and then take a good roll of the shoulders. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Get shoulders even move down, away from the ears. And take a big breath. When you come down, forehead comes to the floor, and we rest. We make space. Inhale, baby cobra. Breathe in. Exhale down. A couple more times. Breathe into the back body. Make space between the vertebrae. Breathe in. Exhale all the way down. Stretch the arms forward. Reverse to corpse pose for a breath. Right into half locust. We're going to lift right arm, left leg off the floor and down. We could add that little traction. Flex the toes. Flex the foot. Pull the heel outwards and then lift. Opposite arm and leg. Doesn't have to be very high. We're just getting the limbs off the floor. Feel free to traction a little here. Pulling that leg out of the socket. Making some space. Isolating these long, strong muscles of the back body. Inhale as you lift. One more to each side. Rest with the forehead on the floor, melt into the floor. Bring your hands out in front, lift up your fishtail. Give a few wiggles to the ankles here and the opposite direction. And now flap your fishtail from side to side. Nice internal and external rotation here. Noticing tight places. Breathe into those places, never pushing the body, just easing. Using these loosening movements to work those cranky places. Nice, we're back in the center. Hands are by the side of the chest, pushing ourselves up and back into child's pose. Coming into seated position, continuing with a little bit of nice range of motion movement, easing side to side. And external rotation, side to side. Coming up like a half pigeon. Oh yeah, that's getting the spot in. Might be holding a little on each of these sides. Those glutes thinking about opening up. Give them good morning glutes. They're like, oh hey. Nice. We are here in the center. It's possible in seated position that you're grabbing something to sit on, giving a little boost. Just helping the hips align forward. Arms are out in front, make a fist with the thumb on the inside, move the wrists up and down. Move the wrists in circles. Lots of sounds there. Opposite direction circle. Shake the arms. Flat palm up and down. Shake out the arm. Elbow circles, make a fist with the thumb on the inside. And give a little shake on the way out. Very gentle. Gentle shakes, opposite direction. And let's give a shrug of the shoulder. And a shake of the arms. Small shoulder circle. Opposite direction. Shrug, shrug, shrug. Shake out the arm. Big shoulder circles, trace with elbows opening up. Breathe and open up. Let's go opposite direction. Inhale. Nice shrug shoulder. So you got the arms. And let's come into some gentle neck movement just for a breath. Feel from the shoulders down through elbows, wrists, and fingers. Tingly, warmth, moving, activation. Also, stuck places, right? That are holding craggy places. Let's do a little gentle neck movement versus just forward and backward. Relaxing jaw, wiggling jaw. Let's take this right and left, right and left. And let's go ear to shoulder. Still relaxing my jaw. Move slower if you need to. You need to just hold. And this one's optional, depends on if it feels good or not. Half circle up towards the shoulder, down towards the middle. Inhale, opposite side. Jaw relax. Back to center. Picking up the head. Let's take a twist while we're here. Breathe in. Exhale, backhand pushes the chest forward so we get a nice straight spine. We're not leaning back to reach for the floor. Breathe in. Back to center. And now. And exhale. Let's go back to the first side. Nice breath in. Exhale all the way on over. And twist. Nice breath in. Exhale. Breathe in the pose. Big breath in. Exhale back to center. Just take a breath. Feel the whole upper body here. We're getting there. We're getting things a little looser. Let's go ahead and stretch the legs. Make some windshield wipers. Making those windshield wipers. Wiggling. Let's come into like my least favorite yoga pants. Let's go into wide leg stance. Or to fire these yoga pants. Just coming into the wide leg stance, feeling any differences on two sides. Like I'm just bringing little wiggles into the mix. Knees bent, my feet are flexed when I'm wiggling. I'm just want to take in like what in this anatomy is feeling really tight, because I want to encourage those places to loosen, and just blazing into a stretch is not what's going to loosen those places. Even a little tapotement might be more helpful than just trying to stretch into something releasing. Let's play a little. So this is like churning the butter. Not really, if you've ever churned butter, this is what it looks like. Hips are a little bit tilted forward, right? So if you're rounded back, I've got all this dark color on so you can't really see, put something under the bum that gets you hips tilted forward so we're on those sits bones. tailbone is relatively free. Grab your totally fake butter churner, and we're making small circles here. So there's going to be a little dip back, a little tailbone tuck under when we're rolling back, but just very little. I'm pretty sensitive to tailbone tuck under things. My tailbone doesn't like it. And so today's an okay day for a little dip back, but not much. Like I don't do boat pose navasana anymore. It just does not make us happy. Okay, purpose of this pose is to open up central channel. Remove energy blockages. But if you feel, take yourself down to the base of the pelvic bowl. You can feel all sorts of activation happening there. Let's go opposite direction. If at any point in time the arms have gotten tired, you could adopt a different position or just shake them out and come on back. So it doesn't have to be too big of a circle at first. Coming back to the center. Let's employ a little classic stretch through hamstrings. We're going to turn to the right, feet are flexed, breathe in, exhale a little bit forward. I've got a nice bend in my knee here, giving that anatomy a chance, right? Not just pulling at the joint attachments, but giving little spaces for movement. And let's inhale back up, over to the opposite side. Breathing. We could be breathing into so many places. Where are you guided to? Inhale back up. Let's go back to the first side. Exhale forward. All the way back up and back over. We're going to bring ourselves back up to the center and a little to the middle. And this little to the middle could also involve a little loosening movement, a little sweeping movement. Just checking in. Tight places. Little holding in the center. Couple breaths. Next inhale, coming all the way back up. Let's get this side bend in as well. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, could be this arms. I've got my right arm. It's going to be on the top of the thigh or a little to the inside, just to give me a little leverage to stretch side body. It could be up here. It's not about like crunching all this anatomy on the downside, but having length and space on both sides of the body as we side bend. Next inhale, back up. Ooh, both arms up. Exhale, opposite side. See about keeping some length on the downside ribs. Let's go back to the first side. Inhale, stretch up. Opening up whole of the side body. Inhale back up. Both arms up. Exhale over to the opposite side. Inhale all the way up and all the way down. Stretch both legs. Make some windshield wipers. Baddha Konasana. Butterfly pose. Let's take some pelvic tilts from here so we could hang out at the ankles or the knees, what have you, somewhere on the calves. Hips tilt forward, tailbone tucks under. So we've been doing lots of Umi yoga undulations, movement through base of the pelvic bowl. Let's turn this into circles in this position. Think lower body, might not be the biggest movement here. A little bit tailbone tucks under, and let's try the opposite direction. Relax your jaw. Nice. Coming back into the center, we could do a little classic fire stretch from here, or just yoga style Baddha Konasana. We could be clasped around the toes. We could open up the feet like a book, stretch some of this fascia of the feet. We could turn the hands to the inside and open up the elbows for fire face stretch. Breathing in. Exhale, leading with the elbows. Opening up the fascia under the armpits. Breathing into the heart space. Breathing into heart channel, heart fascia. Couple more breaths. Next inhale. Coming up, stretch both legs, make windshield wipers. And while we're here, let's do those other fire phase channels, supplemental fire, so we could be back in Sukhasana is one option. Crossing the arms in front. I've got my left arm in front, walking them in opposite directions. Big breath in, and a little forward fold, opening up shoulder blades. If you know any other variations of this movement, feel free. Next inhale, coming up, stretch both arms, open up your eagle wingspan, fan open the wrists. Breathe into pericardium channel here. Deep heart protector space. A big breath in, slowly coming down. Don't hesitate to do a few shoulder movements, scapula movements in between. Let's switch the legs, switch the arms. Let's do the same sequence again, breathing in and exhale. Triple heater, metabolic function. Inhale, coming up, stretch forward, open up, eagle wingspan, full, what you call that, fan, the wrists open, breathe into. Nice breath in. And exhale down. Take a breath. What are we feeling in the chest region? Anything feeling different? We're going to come back onto hands and knees, so feel free to stretch the legs. Give some windshield wipers, some wiggle. And let's come onto hands and knees again. Check back in with cat pose a couple of times, movement through the spine. One more time. Nice tabletop pose from this position. So fingers are spread very wide. Navel draws inwards. We're going to stretch right arm and left leg in opposite direction. Flex that back foot. Getting all of that good activation in the back body. Inhale. And take your time. Whole length of the inhale is the extension of the movement. Breathe in. Exhale. Opposite side. Child's pose. Have a nice stretch back and down. Investigate under the shoulder blades. Bend the elbows. And have little stretches, exploratory stretches under the shoulder blades. See if we can't get some fascia moving. Sometimes I just do little alternating movement. This pose is called, so cat pose, it's tiger pose. We're back on hands and knees. This time we're doing cat pose, but with one leg lifting. And then get it like a little lifter, those hip flexors, and then tuck and draw the knee towards the chest. Totally depends on your anatomy, your range of motion, of how far you can get that knee and chin towards one another. These are really great core strengthening movements. And I love all this asymmetry for the pelvis. Let's try the opposite side. Inhale. And notice differences on two sides. Really spread the fingers very wide. Try to keep knee in line with hip as you're arching, lifting, tucking. If any of this doesn't feel good, skip it. Cat pose, child's pose. Take this into child's pose. Keep checking in with subscapula under the shoulder blade every time we come in child's pose. We get a little bit more movement. Checking in. Nice. So this is Vajradasana variation, where The knees go nice and wide. Toes are touching. And we want to find this little well to sit in. Chin mudra with the hands, pressing the index finger with the thumb. Take a couple meditative breaths here. Beautiful pose for our womb yoga practice. One more breath here. And while we're hanging out here with the adductors, we're going to bring the hands onto the floor. Move the knees in a little bit. Come down to the forearms. We could start with toes just facing back. Little rocking movements, getting at some of that groin attachment. And the next step could be we're going to turn the feet outwards, frog pose. And I'll leave it to you how much you want to pulse through here, or just hold. We're going to bring knees back together. So press elbows into the floor. Bring the knees a little closer towards one another. Enjoy another child's pose. And let's bring left leg forward. Pretty big lunge here. And we're going to enjoy some circular movements with the hands to the inside. You could do any other lunge variation if this does not feel like the thing. Nice, coming into the center and holding. Draw the knees towards the midline of the body, that little isometric muscle contraction. I've got my left foot forward, so right hand comes down, and we rotate in the opposite direction. Big breath in. Back to center. Little Hanumanasana, little baby Hanumanasana. If you need padding under the knee, please do so. Tuck the back toes under. Lengthen this front leg. We want a tilt of the hips forward. We could come down fingertips and then just this nice big stretch through the front leg. Like the baby Hanumanasana. Gotta get to that fascia on the back leg, water channels. Come back into that little lunge. And let's try all this out on the other side. So we had this leg forward into the lunge. First thing we did were some circles. I would say delicious circles, but they may or may not feel delicious. We are holding in this lunge. Drawing the knees towards the midline of the body, giving that little stabilization. We did a variation with rotation. I've got right foot forward, so left hand down and rotating up. Nice breath in. Back to center. We had a little fun time here, a little baby Hanumanasana. Tuck the back toes under. Flex front foot onto the heel. Fingertips, we just want to be even in the two hips. Hips are tilted forward. That's the main sort of fulcrum in this pose. Noticing all the differences on two sides. Nice breath in, sliding things back. Little child's pose. Keep checking in every time we come into child's pose. Can you make some more space under the armpits? Getting that anatomy moving. Downward facing dog, if that feels like a nice thing, and if it doesn't, we're going to come into standing forward fold. Fingers spread very wide, toes tuck under, soft bend in the knees. Could be a little gentle pedaling through the backs of the legs. Walking the feet forward, walking the hands back. Soft bend in the knees, forward fold. Could be a little bouncing here. Just getting a little movement through the spine. Little figure eights from here. Feel under the shoulder blades. Opposite direction. A couple of times tabletop pose, we might want to bring the feet a little bit more in line with the true hips. Soft bend in the knee. Hands on the calves. Soft tilt in the hips. Breathing in, exhaling. Forward fold. And breathe into those hamstrings that we just said hello to. In. One more time, inhale, tabletop. Nice breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. I know I'm a little out of the frame when you get up here. Roll the shoulders. Roll the shoulders in opposite direction. But what I'm really interested in doing is coming wide leg, taking a big breath in, and taking a forward one. Soft bend in the knees. Walk the hands forward, like we're doing a very wide downward facing dog. And just playing around with opening up where? Under the shoulder blades. Walking the hands back. Let's bring left arm rotated to the inside, directly underneath the shoulders. A little rotation could be that we take the arm out of the mix and just really open up through chest and shoulder. Big breath in. And rotate back towards the floor, opposite side. Inhale. I'm just going to bring my arm to the back and really concentrate on opening up the shoulders. Nice breath in and back to center, forward fold. Still playing around with those shoulder blades. Can I get under the shoulder blades? Next inhale, walk the feet in a little. This is going to be for Chikadachi. Squatting stance. And we could even turn this into a little goddess pose with arms out to the sides. To the standing squat. Next inhale, straighten up, walk the feet back out, take a forward fold. We're gonna pivot whatever foot, whatever top of the mat you want to be at. Bring this foot back, downward facing dog. We've got a very slippery mat. Feet a little closer together. Upward facing dog, untuck the toes, and then a little gentle tipping movement, side to side. Come all the way down into the floor. And into Sphinx pose. Elbows under the shoulders. Belly pushing into the floor, lifting up. Breathing to all the tight places. Let's bring this into an easier to hold pose. We can hold a little bit longer, crocodile pose. Figure out where to place the elbows. They could be closer to you, they could be farther away, but that's going to be like more low back or upper back. They could be away from one another or closer to one another. That's going to be closer to the spine, away from the spine. You can play with the asymmetry here and find your balance in the moment. We're going to hang out here for a few breaths, really utilize this amazing pose. This is a chiropractor pose. It helps us keep spinal vertebra in alignment. Use your breath. Breathing into all the tight places. Check in with tailbone. Play around with occasionally flexing the feet and just feeling into lengthening out of the socket, hip socket. Nice breath in. Exhale. Coming all the way down. Stretch back into reverse corpse pose. While you're resting here in reversed corpse pose, really breathe into the entire spine, each vertebra. So these are all poses where we could spend more time, that's for sure. Bring up your fishtail, flap your fishtail from side to side. Anything feeling different in there? I'm not sure anything is less cranky. There's some places that are definitely more open. And then there's one very cranky glute minimus. It's cranky no matter what pose I put it into. So let's really give it what it needs. Pushing yourselves up and back into child's pose. And let's play around with a little bit of pigeon. So yeah, give it what it needs, those external rotators. So if you want to be fancy and come into your pigeon pose from down dog or anything like that, you feel free. But what I just want to point out is we are aiming for the calf parallel-ish with the front of the mat. So it's not a variation where the foot is back like this. We're just not going to get enough opening through the hip. One of the ways to make space in this pose is to move this knee farther outwards. And then when we're coming around, I kind of put myself too close to the sofa. Now I actually have some space to maneuver. I do want this back leg in line with the hip. I could have toes tucked under. They could be untucked. I could be up in the pose. I could be on elbows. I could be on a block. But give yourself some space for things to actually open up. And breathe. Couple more breaths. I'm going to give it a little time in the extension of this pose, hands on the floor. And chest forward. Amazing. Big breath in. If you like to do a down dog, up dog in between, or if we're just easing ourselves to the side, who knows, maybe a little windshield wipers in between. It doesn't have to look good. Let's start playing around with opposite side. I know for me, this side is a little bit tighter today in this vein. I'm not even rushing into the pose. I'm just like, okay, well, this is the alignment I'd like. I don't know if I'm going to be able to maintain this once I come into the full pose. But, I might just give it a second here, not be in a rush, and giving some space. Not too bad. Probably because we did all sorts of juicy movements leading up to this stretch. And we gave it some time. We spent a little bit of time in the extension of this pose. Nice breath in, easing out of this pose. A few windshield wipers, a few knee pull-ups if that felt like a space that could use a little juicing. We're gonna finish up back on our backs. A couple zigzag twists. And let's do a single leg twist to finish up. So I don't know if you've been noticing, I sprinkle in restful poses throughout the practice. So we're getting that good rest quotient. We could definitely use a rest at the end. Let's do single leg twist. So right leg push to the outside, turn the head back to center, across the body. Lots of options here. Behind the knee, in front of the knee. Let's come back to center. And release left, right to the outside. Turn the head in the opposite direction and just notice all that delicious movement through the neck. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to the center. So here's the fun. You're taking the wheel from here. Are there more poses you want to do? Do you want to hang out in some inversions? Shoulder stand, headstand, legs up the wall. Are you feeling like having a little shavasana? Me, I'm going to do some foam rolling. and see where that takes me while I've got some opening through the back, low back. And then there's the option that you're feeling complete in this practice, in this moment. So we really do support ourselves when we get into movement practice, when we consider this body, its needs, changing seasons, grief time, super overload. And we can be here in this moment, preparing this body to be able to handle the load. So really thankful for this very juicy practice today. Went a little bit over, but whatever. I leave you here, and I will see you very soon.